Michi,
When
I
am I
sent a
going
video
where?
in live chat about how big the universe is. I really want you to react to it.
Oh, I'm scared. My brain's gonna go kapoop, man. I'm a fucking built for this. There's a reason I drop out of school. You think the reason is because I'm smart? Oh, I love videos that remind me that no matter what we do, we're but a speck in the universe. And really, we're such tiny, tiny things. We're so tiny, but we think our life is so big.
This is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and
Chat,
everything that you've
doxed
ever
me!
known is located right here. But just how small exactly is Earth when compared to the scale of the entire universe?
I should really
Let's
get
start by
medicated.
zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away. 384,400 kilometers away from you right now on average. You could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to drive the entire distance. Despite this incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth, and one of humanity's greatest achievements. This is what the Earth would look like from there if you were standing there with them, and if you wanted to communicate with somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at.
42 times it would reach the moon.
If you could fold a piece of paper in half 42 times, it would reach the moon.
This is a photo that was
Michi,
taken
have
on
you
Mars,
ever heard
and
of
that
the concept of the supercontinent?
Okay, you gotta slow down. You think my brain is built of like giga... If I'm supposed to be smart, I wouldn't fucking be a VTuber. Alright, chat? I know a lot of fucking people are VTubers because they used to be smart. Not me, though.
The dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible 225...
Wait, is that true?
This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and
you can see it from Mars?
that tiny dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible 225 million kilometers away from Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers. That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the astronauts who landed on the moon were. In addition, the time delay for sending a message from Mars back to Earth isn't just 2.5 seconds, it's actually more like 20 minutes each direction, which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is the furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth. AU meaning astronomical unit, which is the distance between the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is. At some point on its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph. It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion, this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history. This tiny, pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of all our joys and sufferings, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, every mother and every father, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam.
I farted.
Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every single second, but even at that speed, it won't break out of the reach of our solar system for another 30,000 years. Once we go beyond the solar...
Why is it called Oort cloud? Did he mention... Chad, did you know we live in an Oort cloud?
solar system for another 30,000 years.
Why is it called Oort
Once
Cloud?
we go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood. Here we shift to the light year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The
Oomph, the Airy, the Ackle, Good Cloud, Alpha, Centauri, Local Cloud, Hyades, Hour, Gem. Bro, these aren't even full words, bro.
The Oort cloud is all the objects captured by the sun's gravity. It extends out further than a light year from the sun.
What? Yeah, there's so much, like, we just be naming shit. Like, we just make shit up. That's correct. Who the fuck came up with this? Who saw this and went, let me just draw arrows and then name them? And then they chose R, Oomph.
The star Proxima
All words
Centauri
are made
here
up.
is the closest other star
True.
to us other than our sun, but it's still
That's our
4.24
sun?
light years away from us. To put that into perspective, if it was heading in the right direction,
Michi,
it would
even
still
name
take
ever made
Voyager
was made
1
up.
over 70,000 years to reach it.
Yeah, every name is made up, but we can see it. This is like we saw a picture and then we made it up.
In other words, if you drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to finally get there, and it wouldn't even exist still when you arrive.
Hey,
What?
When
chat,
we zoom out
who's
even
going to be the one chatter that bought a star for
What?
Michi?
You can buy a star? You cannot buy a star. You can't do
further,
that.
we can see the
You
entire
liar.
Milky Way galaxy, inside of which Earth is located right here. This
Whoa.
yellow dot is the furthest
Whoa.
extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally unaware of humanity's presence. It's complete silence
Whoa.
outside of this yellow dot as far as we are currently aware, but the entire galaxy spans over 100,000 light years from end to end. There are over 100 billion stars and over 100 billion planets inside of our
You can buy a
galaxy.
totally
But
legit
you have
piece of
never
paper
seen the
saying you
full
own a
glory of the
star.
galaxy at night, because 99% of the stars that you can see with the naked eye are limited to this small, tiny region right here.
What?
But even this massive galaxy is nothing compared to the rest of what's out there. Zooming out even further and we arrive at the local group of galaxies, a collection of 54 different galaxies that is about 10 million light years across. But zooming out even further and we can see the Virgo supercluster, of which the local group here is just a tiny segment of. There are at least 100 other groups of galaxies just like our own local group inside of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light years.
Question. Genuine question. But how the fuck did they know that? Because they said, like, at this point of the video, right? This is, like, the furthest telescope. How big is the telescope? Because this is, like, big. It's like, if this is where we
Imagine buying a
are...
star to find out it died a billion years ago. But don't worry, the piece of paper says I still own it. I think I'll call it Jim.
Ah,
There
okay,
are more
man.
stars in our galaxy than there are grains of sand on the beach. There are more galaxies in the universe than there are stars in our galaxy.
No, like, if this is, like, where we are, right? How do we get to see... Like, look at how tiny we are. You know, we're so tiny. How do we know this thing? And then how the hell did we get to this? It said naked eye. Oh. So, you're telling me some group of people actually saw, like a can? We live in a soda can?
Just like our own local
Like
group inside
this.
of here, and the distance from one side to the other is a mind-numbing 110 million light years.
The fuck? This looks like a tin can, you know, like a little tuna can. How do they know it looks like this?
But even the massive Virgo supercluster is nothing but a quiet and
Oh, see, now
tiny
there's
lobe
more.
of the great Laniakea.
There's more, and then it's still we're in a can. It's a model of a can. It's a cylinder. How do they know we're not living in like a circle, you know?
We look so small in comparison to the rest of the universe. We look like the size of Michi's brain. I don't like that pic. I blinked in that.
No, I mean, like, how did they know? Because the circle is too... No, okay, what is it called? A 3D
That's just
circle?
them trying to make it easier to read. The can is not real. The
Oh,
can
so we
lines
aren't-
are just there to help make the 3D image. They don't actually exist.
Then how does it look like? Like, you know how... Is this called a sphere? Like, you know how the Earth is a sphere? Like, the Earth is like a 3D
it's a grouping,
circle.
not a can.
Whatchamacallit? Like, what is it? A 3D sphere. The Earth is 3D circle. What is the shape of the universe? Is it also a sphere? You see? I'm not asking.
Laniakea supercluster,
You're right.
an
Shut the
enormous
fuck up.
structure that is home to our galaxy as well as 100,000 other galaxies. The distance
know,
from
it's
one
a
side to the
Voyager.
other is
Relativity and how time passes
520
differently
million.
the farther you get from Earth, like in Interstellar.
No one told
You
Michi
will
about
mind
relativity and
break
how
the
time
chat.
passes?
Don't do it. Please don't
What?
do it, XDX.
What the hell
The
does that even
universe
mean?
has no walls and no center. The universe
Damn.
is exactly the shape of Xanthrea. We do not know what shape the universe is.
Oh.
The reasons are complicated though.
Oh, so we don't know yet. This is the boundaries of what we know. But there's still more we just don't know yet.
Light years, but from even there we can zoom out all the way to the entire observable universe and see that even the titanic Laniakea supercluster is just a tiny and insignificant part of everything. This is the observable universe, and it contains everything that we know of. It is home to at least 2 trillion different and individual galaxies, which together contain more stars than there are grains of sand on the entire Earth. The distance from Earth to any side of the observable universe is 46.5
Michi, you are my
billion
universe.
light years, which means that the entire width is 93 billion light years across.
That means
What's
I am
perhaps even more
93
interesting,
billion light
however,
years.
is what actually lies beyond the observable universe. Keep in mind that the observable universe is all that we
Wow.
can currently see, and it's entirely possible that the rest of the universe outside of it is vastly larger and more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine. We simply don't know what else is out there because the
I
light
relate
from
to
these
this picture.
incredibly distant places has not yet had enough time in the universe's history to reach us yet back on Earth. And the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are expanding away from us faster than the speed
Imagine
of light,
floating in
that
the
means
middle
that
of
the
the
light
ocean.
The
You would
light.
have to plot any direction you move in 3 dimensions. So when they
Oh.
are showing representations of star systems, superclusters, and other mapping boundaries, a cylinder is a reasonable representation for people to understand.
Wait, how come some light source be moving so
from these
fast?
places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth. Meaning that even if humanity is eternal and exists
They basically
forever,
looked
there
at
will
the
still
light
be an
distance and measured the light's distance
Hold on.
and grouped the light's distances in groups.
I actually want to learn. This is an interesting. They usually look at the light.
far away
I'm
from Earth
And
are
people
Hold on.
still believe that we are
I'm looking at
all
this
alone and
observable
that there are no
universe.
aliens out there.
This.
Who knows, maybe even
Okay.
your world is out there, Michi.
So this is the can, right?
moving away from us faster than the speed of light. That means that the light from these places will never,
this is the
in
stuff
an
we don't
infinite
know.
amount of time, reach Earth.
Ah.
Meaning that even if humanity is eternal and exists forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see. So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times larger than the observable universe. That
Six.
number for reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number sink in for just a moment. This would be similar to you thinking that the entire observable universe, everything that you could see, was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it, and that's a similar situation to this. We are all so unbelievably small, but you shouldn't worry, because all that means is that there is so much left out there for us to discover together.
Wow.
Here's what we'll do, Michi will find out the old Spanish explorer way. We'll send you up in a can and you can see if you can't reach the end of the universe. But no, unironically it's possible the universe is infinite because universe was made from big explosion, in a universe with no friction, so it is continuously expanding. I'm not a scientist, so I'm probably wrong.
I feel like my brain has short-circuited. We're sextillions. We're like one sextillions. Sex. Wow. Does that mean there's a chance aliens exist? Cause if there's so many, chat, and if we're just like a little dot in a light bulb,
Space is so
in the
fucking
big bulb,
radical. Wow.
there's aliens. 100% alien life exists. Way too big not to, right? Do you think the aliens have VTubers? Thought about that for a second. That might be a stupid thing. But what if the aliens are also VTubers? Do you think, chat, do you think some aliens have, like, they know what VTubers are, and then one of their lore is they're a human?
Exist. We're watching one right now.
Oh. No, have you thought about it? Like, they're like their lore is that they were like a human ruler and destroyer of worlds, but their race is human.
To go into their
because they're aliens.
And the great
Wow.
filter.
You know what I mean? Like, we have so many VTubers that are like, instead of going Glorpa, what if it's just like a normal cat? Oh my. Aliens don't know we exist? What if they made it up? They're like, this is what we think aliens look like,
Michi,
and it's a
have
human
you ever
being.
heard of the universe song from Monty Python's The Meaning of Life? It feels very on topic right now.
You think about it, chat. Like, we think aliens are green, but what if the aliens think we are, like, also green? Or not green at all? And one of the aliens came up with, like, lore that we're, like, they're from out of space, and they look like a human being. And then, one day, human life is gonna find them, and we're gonna find the aliens, and they're this one fucking random human VTuber alien is gonna be like, I was always right. I knew it. I knew this is what aliens look like. Aliens look like this. And they were right.
Mathematically, other intelligent life 100% must exist given an infinite amount of space, stars, and planets.
What if the aliens visit us, chat, and then they see our shit, and they're like, we can, like, it's like, you're not crazy. We see these things too.
If you want to see something
What if I'm
that
not
looks
hallucinating?
like an alien but actually existed, look up the Tully monster sometime. It baffles scientists to this day. Lindsay Nicole has a good short video on it.
I think my brain has overheated, chat. This shit, when it comes to, like, geography and space and stuff, I know nothing. And my brain hurts. But chat, what if I'm not actually hallucinating, though?
Aliens.
What if I'm part alien?
Please abduct Michi.
Have you thought about it, chat? What if I'm half alien, half
There is an
human?
actual theory that most life on Earth is actually alien to this planet, and the first microbes that evolved into higher life forms were on a meteor hitting Earth many million years ago.
Exactly! What if we're all aliens? You know, and you thought I was crazy. Bro, stop, that's making me sweat. No, have you thought about it, bro? Like, you know when people are like, I don't
From
see it, and you're like,
D's
I
nuts
see
joke
it.
to this, I expect nothing less from this community.
And then it blows up. I knew it. Oh my. What do you mean if? I knew it. I'm gonna put my tinfoil hats on. I think I'm too medicated for this shit, chat. I'm scared of this topic.
If you